Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Rajamia and I am the Conservative candidate for the local elections for the ward Milkston and Deeplish in Rochdale, United Kingdom. I would like to share my illness story with everyone. I have told my story to family members already know of, and of course just today I have met a friend which I haven't seen for at least 3 years, and his name is Shahid, and we met in Chaiwala, Mixton Road in Deeplish, and I was telling him the story and he said, a beautiful story, very emotional, and it was very challenging, and you should, do a story, record it and put it on Facebook and TikTok. Excuse me, I think it was a bit of a water, cold water. So my story, you see, in 2020, November 2020, actually I think it was October, if I'm not mistaken, 2020 October, early October, one day I took my son to school and came back, and usually, school day, sometime I will have a nap. And so I had a nap and I got up, and it probably was about 1 in the afternoon, and like the room, I'm in my bed, and I looked at my room and it was going in circles. It's like the room was, I was dizzy, but it was hard to explain. It's hard to explain. The room was going like in circles, and I'm like, I tried to get up, and I tried to get up, but I couldn't. I fell back on my bed, and so then I shouted my wife, and she came running, and I said, I'm dizzy, and she goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm dizzy, but the room is going round. I can't stand up." So she helped me on the bed, and I sat up, and she sat next to me, my wife, and then she got me some water, and I think maybe I vomited as well, and then she got me tissue and everything, and so then after about half an hour, 40 minutes, she helped me go downstairs, and basically the dizzy, I was still dizzy. It was that everything was like going in circles, but I just didn't know what was going on, and as I was drinking water, but then I was vomiting. So my missus, I told my wife to call my sister, and also when my sister came, and then ambulance was called, and the ambulance, they arrived within about 15-20 minutes after calling them, and that's Rochdale, by the way. I live in Rochdale, and the paramedics checked everything, and by that time the dizziness is kind of subsiding, reducing, and they checked my they did an EKG, they did check my blood pressure, and everything seemed okay. So they just told me rest and drink plenty of water, and that was early October. So I said okay, and then 2-3 weeks later I was feeling always tired, especially going up the stairs. And I thought maybe I need to go to the gym. Maybe because of COVID, lockdown, everybody's at home, not working. and eating junk food. I mean, I'm kind of I like the local takeaway Eastern kebab house, and she kebab and all that stuff. And so, but then come December, I was getting more tired as I go up the stairs. I couldn't even carry my young son, Suleiman, and of course he was 3.5 at the time, or maybe 3 years old or younger. And so my wife said to call the GP, and GP wouldn't answer. So my wife said, it's enough, just go to the A&E, go to the urgent care center, Rochdale Infirmary. So I did, and I told them, look, something's not right, and I feel tired. I feel extremely tired, especially going up the stairs. I come at the landing, and I'm like panting for at least 2 minutes. I'm gonna sit down, and so they said, right, sit down, we'll take some blood. So they did, and after the blood test came, that's Rochdale Infirmary, they told me your blood count, your hemoglobin, your red blood count is very low, and your white blood cells are very high. So I said, what does that mean? And they said, we suspect it's leukemia. I said, what's that? They said, it's AML leukemia. Maybe that's what we're suspecting. It's white blood cancer. And that was like, I mean, I just naturally became sad, and I didn't know what to say. They said, we have to keep you in hospital, and we don't have the facility in Rochdale Infirmary, so we will call an ambulance, and because you have low blood, we'll prepare to give you some blood here at Rochdale Infirmary, and then the ambulance later on will take you to Oldham Royal Hospital. So I arrived at Oldham Royal Hospital in the evening, well, late evening. By the time I went, it was about 11:30 p.m. And so it was night, and so they just said, rest, and they give me, some antibiotics and some food. I think it was tomato soup, and a sandwich. It was a tuna sandwich, and so in the morning they said we have to do a bone marrow biopsy to confirm that it is leukemia. So in the morning they did a bone marrow biopsy, which is a very painful procedure, but if it's done by an experienced NHS expert, then yeah. So first time the bone marrow biopsy, I was really, dreadful. I was like thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna cope with this? And I was always asking Allah for help and strength. And so the bone marrow biopsy happened. It wasn't that painful. It was supposed to be painful. And 3 hours later, they said, sorry, in the evening later on, they said, sorry, but you have leukemia, white blood cancer, AML, leukemia, white blood cancer. And of course, that was confirmed. My consultant, Dr. Alamuddin, Egyptian Muslim in Oldham Royal, he is the head of hematology department. Hematology is to do with white blood cell, red blood cell, cancer analysis, disease treatment, diagnosis, prognosis, all that stuff. And so he said, look, best course of action. I mean, I actually, when they said you got, white blood cancer, I said, how long do I have? And they said, well, we have treatment, it's chemotherapy, and it's for you, we could do what's called a targeted customized chemotherapy. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting and scary at the same time. So Dr. Alamuddin, he said, go home, come back in about a few days, and we'll start your treatment. And that was amazing because it was also during COVID. And by that time, it was March 2021. And so I came home for 5-6 days. I told everyone, obviously, naturally, everyone was sad. My wife, my daughter, my little son, he's 4 years old. So obviously, he doesn't really know what's going on. And so obviously, we were all sad, family and friends and natural. And I went back to Oldham Royal. I think it was, by that time, it was 20 March 2021. Or 21 March 2021, and they started my chemotherapy. Before they started my chemotherapy, they said you have to sign a consent form, and one of the side effects, amongst many, like nausea, you're gonna lose your hair, you're gonna lose your appetite, all that. One of the side effects was death. And that I found strange. And I said, why is the side effect death on the consent form? Of course, I want the treatment. They said sometimes people can't, people die during chemotherapy. Then I said, look, death, it belongs to the Creator Allah. Because Allah says, Kulli nafsin zaikatul maut in the Quran, meaning every soul will taste death. We don't die, we taste death. We don't die, we experience death. And so I said, fine, I'm going to sign this because I do want the treatment. But again, in Islam, if the treatment is there, then I have to take the treatment because the Creator Allah gives diseases to test us, illnesses to test us, and therefore also the Creator Allah gives cure, but for some diseases, the cure has not been discovered yet, but it's out there somewhere. Now, carrying on. So, I said, I signed the document, the consent form, National Health Service. They started the chemotherapy treatment. They give me my own room, especially because of COVID. They wanted to make everything safe for me. And it was amazing and very emotional and extremely challenging time for me. But because I have to say, because I have a strong connection with the Creator Allah, and Allah helped me go through this challenge, this test. So they started chemotherapy. They gave me cytarabine, donosabirin, some of these names I can't even pronounce, Milotog. Milotog was like a customized for me, AML. Dr. Alamuddin said this will actually, help you get rid of the cancer. And long story short, so chemotherapy, I had 3 rounds in Oldham Royal Hospital. And then for the stem cell transplant, they transferred me to Manchester Royal Infirmary. Now, you see, in Manchester Royal Infirmary, I met a person, his name is Said Shah, and unfortunately and sadly, and I believe he is in paradise, he is in Barzakh, mini paradise, yeah, and he will go to paradise. And I believe as a Muslim, the Creator Allah is taking care of my good friend Said Shah. So you see, Said Shah, I met him in Manchester Royal Infirmary, and he told me he had AML leukemia, same illness. Yeah, I had AML leukemia, Said Shah had AML leukemia, and you see, I was given chemotherapy sessions, he was given chemotherapy sessions, and stem cell plants. And sadly, unfortunately, you see, like I said, Allah decides, the Creator Allah decides who will live on earth, and who will leave the earth, who will depart the earth. And on, if I'm not mistaken, middle January 2022, my friend Said Shah passed away. And I would like to ask the viewers if they can do dua for my good friend Said Shah, who has passed away earlier this year in January 2022. And I will do the dua now. Ya the Creator Allah, Ya Allah, forgive my friend's Said Shah's all his sins, and Ya Allah, grant him, gift him the highest Jannah, Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen, Ameen. So carrying on with the story, you see, in the hospital, of course, there were non-Muslim patients as well with AML leukemia, similar to mine, well, same. And because I have to say I had strong connection with Allah and being a Sunni Muslim, and of course I have to say also that some days, I was very sad, and some days naturally I would cry going to sleep, that maybe that's my last day, that's maybe I'm not going to see the morning, I'm not going to see the sunrise. But in front of the patients and nurses and doctors, I always stayed strong. So the nurses and the doctors would ask me, you have cancer, why are you so happy? And I would say, well, if the Creator Allah decides to send the angel and take my soul out of me, meaning I leave this world, then I will get to meet the Creator Allah. Allahu Akbar. The Creator Allah is the greatest. And if Allah decides to keep me on earth, then I love Allah more and I will remember Allah more. And that's what I'm doing. For example, every day now, since I have been ill and been cured, Alhamdulillah, all thanks and praises to Allah. Yes, the NHS did a terrific job. The NHS did a good job treating me, and they really looked after me. I mean, they gave me 5-star service. The NHS gave me 5-star service, 4 rounds of chemo, stem cell transplant, amazing. They really looked after me. I can tell you personally from personal leukemia experience that the NHS, the nurses, the doctors, everyone looked after me. Even now, once a month, I go for blood review, and they take blood and they tell me everything's fine. And for example, you need more potassium, more magnesium, so we'll give you this medicine, that medicine, this mineral, this vitamin. You need to take a little bit more vitamin C, for example, all that. So you see, the Creator Allah decides who lives and who dies. Kulli nafsin zaikatul maut. We don't die, we taste death. This is very important to understand. So, you see, so the Creator Allah, I love Allah more because Allah kept me alive on earth, and I get to see my children growing up. I get to meet my friends and also make new friends. And this is my leukemia, AML, white blood cancer story. I am still taking 4 antibiotics. The names are acliclovir, cotrimoxazole. The other one is called ulcedeoxycholic acid. Yeah, I know. Because you take them every day. I read them, and then I take them. Make sure it's the right medicine. So you see, it has been a very challenging and emotional for me, challenging. And yes, by the way, I want to finish the video by saying, try to make a strong connection with the Creator Allah. Then when Allah tests you with something like this, cancer or heart disease, or even diabetes, you'll understand that Allah is testing. And this is what Allah wants to see. Allah tests us with various types of tests. Like having lots of money is a test. Having a disease is a test. Don't forget, the real you is your soul, not your earthly body. What that means is the soul lives forever. The soul lives forever. Thank you for listening. Please share my videos all around the world. My name is Raja Mia, and please do dua for me, and I will do dua for you. Thank you very much.